as Tytania continues. Its world building and character development are effectively flourishing. This episodes 5 to 13, which concludes the major arc of this time. The series continues with a similar spirit to Legend of the Galactic Heroes as the people further their radicalization and organization against Tytania. Their freedom movement has one hope, that being Fan Hulick. By defeating Ariobert, he did what no one thought possible, that Tytania could lose in a fleet battle. This demystified them and inspired the people to act against them. Ariobert is still haunted by this loss and constantly gets reminded of this failure of his. With Hulick's victory, it has given inspiration to people across the universe that Tytania is not invincible and that it can be defeated. Civil war and other rebellions began going on through space, as those at the top of the revolutionary forces continued to work with Fan Hulick and to try to inspire him to continue to command fleets to take down Tytania. But Hulick himself is conflicted. Similar to Yang Wen-li, he is not the type to want to go to war, and ponders when constantly questioned if he should fight. The young philosopher Dr. Lee sees all this potential in Hulick and finds delight in observing and taking part in inspiring Hulick to go into battle. Elsewhere, Lydia, the adorable princess of Elbin Kingdom, has her own problems with Tytania, who wants to take an important economic asset that would endanger her people. She offers herself up as a hostage to Jocelyn Tytania. But it isn't so bad as she is treated with respect. However, Lydia tends to say and do whatever is on her mind and demands dignity as a figure of royalty. This leads to her temporarily running away, almost falling from a high distance and wandering in public, with no one realizing there's a princess among them. It's funny to see her purchase ice cream at a stand and expect not to pay. When pressed, she gives the worker an expensive gem. Speaking of the humor, with Noboru Ishiguro, Macross and Legend of the Galactic Heroes director, you can expect quality, as he had admitted in interviews that comedy is his specialty. And the viewers will come to see with parts such as Alcis constantly getting Hulick's name wrong, eventually getting it, Hulick's playful and jokester and sarcastic type personality, and Ariobert constantly getting offended at being reminded he lost to Hulick and caused all this chaos, just to name a few moments. Speaking of Legend of the Galactic Heroes, I want to point out again that this is a work by the same author, Yoshiki Tanaka. As for Tytania, the nobles are nearing to the day one of them will take control and gain more power. Jocelyn seems to be the most qualified at the moment, but there is jealousy and competition going on in the background. Ariobert is trying to redeem himself, and all sorts of conspiracies are being pulled off. The reason why I titled this Yang Wen-li Reincarnated is because, again, Tanaka made Fan Hulick in the same spirit as Yang. But Hulick isn't just a carbon copy, he has his own complex story and personality, despite the similarities. In this part of the series, the four Dukes of Tytania continue the pursuit of Hulick, and have been getting outsmarted each time by him and his comrades. The revolutionaries are trying constantly to convince Hulick to fight, but he shows very little interest and runs away mostly. But towards the end, Alcis kidnaps Lyra, who was the woman Hulick met in the beginning of the series, and also his love interest, and had threatened to execute her in a plan to lure Hulick in. During the abduction, she learns it was her own boyfriend that told the authorities where she was, and her grandmother gets shot to death trying to save her. Hulick makes a clever plan by pretending to attack with a fleet that happened to be mostly a bunch of asteroids disguised as ships. By the time Tytania realizes this, they had already infiltrated Alcis' mansion and made it to Lyra. Alcis eventually captured both Lyra and Hulick and takes them outside, where he holds a gun to them and appears to want to toss them into his pool where his large meat-eating fish are. Lyra sees that there isn't a way out of it, but feels comforted as Hulick hugs her and fearlessly attempts to negotiate with Alcis. But Lyra decides to make a move and tells Hulick that he is hope, he must survive, and that she is willing to sacrifice herself for him to make it. She knows Hulick is the key to destroying Tytania, breaks away from him, and charges at Alcis, who shoots her several times. It's implied. She grabs him and jumps into the pool with Alcis. Alcis gets attacked by his own pet fish and gets part of his face torn off. Hulick still decides to jump in and save her, but she drowned and or died from the gunshot wounds. Up to this point, Hulick had been carefree, goofy, and playing around in the face of seriousness. He had been running away all this time. But this was a spark that showed him very angry for the first time in the series. By the time his comrades make it to him, he is crying and holding a dead Lyra. He kisses her and gives her a proper burial. For the first time, Hulick now feels hatred towards Tytania. Thank you for listening.